good afternoon everybody. Welcome to this week's Friday Waffle. Now apologies about it not going out last night. I just quite literally had the night from hell. Got home at 5 o'clock, had to go to Argos to pick up some stuff for work. I discovered that my works phone, which had the, the emails with the reference numbers on it, it had like 2% in it. So I managed to get it switched on. I took photographs of the Argos pick-up receipt things. Then had to stand in a queue outside to get in, and it took about 15-20 minutes. Got in, and then you had to queue to actually pick up the stuff. Got to the front of the queue, had my phone all ready with said pictures. Realised that had 2% in it. Eventually got served, and the girl's like, "What's your reference number, please?" I went, "There you go." I says, "You'll need to be quick." I says, "Because this has got 2%, it's going to die, and then I'll not be able to give you the reference number." So I gave her one of the reference numbers. Then she said to me, "Have you got the 4-digit PIN number?" And I'm like, "PIN number?" She went, "Oh yeah, you need that. I can't give you it without that." So that was 40 minutes of my life I was never going to get back again. Got home, took about 15 minutes to get home. Picked my daughter up, and I'd promised her a McDonald's. Got to McDonald's. Now I don't know if McDonald's is the same everywhere else, but at the moment during this lockdown, the queues are just ridiculous. Now, to be honest, if I hadn't promised her, I'd have probably just turned around. I'll put it this way, if it had just been myself, I would have turned around and just went straight home again. But given I'd promised her I would get her one, I sat in the queue for about maybe 20 minutes. Got home, and then she told me that she had to go to Asda to get some bits and pieces. Yeah, can you sense that somebody's got me wrapped around their little finger? So then back down to the shops, into Asda. So quite literally, by the time I got in last night and sat down, it was about 9:15. I then had to take the dogs out, though, to be fair, my daughter did that, so that was one little saving grace. So from getting home at 5 o'clock, it was like 9:30 at night before I sat down. I was planning to go out for a walk with my mate with the dogs, had to cancel that. I was planning to play some Ages of Empire 2 with Lacosa, had to cancel that. And inevitably the waffle did not go ahead either, so best laid plans. I'm one of these twats that I always I pack far too much into a day, and I really don't give myself enough time for myself or to actually work things out, and I end up over promising things to people, and then invariably you end up letting somebody down. So yeah, last night was a bit of a kind of washout. Didn't really do anything at all. This morning I was up bright and breezy, went down to the post office to pick up a parcel. Anything else exciting? Got home, and I've literally just finished one of my mates, he wasn't selling, he was giving away actually some really nice sort of teak speakers. These things stand about 4 feet high. They've got about 2 speakery bits, and I don't know is it the tweeters? I don't know what they're called. There's like 3 bits to the speaker. There's 1 bit of bass or something. I've no idea. All I know is they give it really good sound. Now he also gave me a CD player. Now I've got a bundle of CDs, but here's the thing: when you've got Amazon Prime Music, which I think it's got, is it 40 million songs in it, why would I want to piss about with CDs? So what I did was I plugged in I'm just going to sit back, hang on a second, move that there like so. So I managed to, what I did was I plugged the Amazon Dot into the back of the CD player, but I couldn't get any sound. So I ordered one of the little jack cable things off Amazon, and plugged it in, no sound. Then I turned up the volume, and all was working fine. Hang on, that's a bit pants like that. That's better. Anyway, cut long story short, I've now got it wired up to the Amazon Dot, and I've got to say I am really impressed with it. I mean, it's the future, having a sound system that sounds as good as this sounds, and you can just ask for it to play any music. It's just utterly fantastic. And given that if you're on my Discord channel at all, you'll notice, was it last week? No, it wasn't last weekend actually, it was last Tuesday. my very courteous neighbours decided to play music really loud up to about midnight on Tuesday night. So you know what, I don't mind turning my music up a wee bit when it's during the day. Maybe give them a wee bit of their own medicine. That's kind of been that. What else have I been doing gaming wise? Yeah, right, I am a massive fan of original hardware, as you all know. Well, if you watch my channel regularly, you'll probably know that I'm an original fan of hardware. Original fan of hardware? A fan of original hardware even. God, you can tell it's been a long Saturday. But here's the thing, one of the things that I have is it's a Commodore 2084S monitor, which I've got my Amiga plugged into. Now, if you've ever watched any of my live streams or waffles, chances are you've probably seen the monitor sitting over that shoulder. But I was sitting last night, just before I went to my bed actually, it just kind of crossed my mind how little I use my Spectrum Next, and I've got a few other computers that I rarely use because they're not plugged in. I've got my Atari, what else? I've got the Amstrad. There's a few computers that I never really use purely and simply because they're not wired up. And the thing is about having this monitor, it takes up a lot of space. And yeah, I totally get that it looks nice, you know, it's old school sort of CRT scan lines, whatever it is. But the problem is the screen is really small, the picture can be a wee bit flaky from time to time, and on occasions I've got to give it a good hit with my hand because the speakers, I don't know, they might have a loose wire or something, I'm not too sure. Usually once you get it working it's absolutely fine. But the payoff for having such a bulky monitor that I can only use with one computer, it means that I can't really have anything else connected up. So what I've done is I've removed the monitor. I'm actually selling it. I've got it on Gumtree, and yeah, I've now got the Spectrum Next connected up to it, and I've also got my Amiga connected up to it. And I've got to say, the picture is fantastic. Yeah, it's LCD, and I know people say, "Oh, it just doesn't look right." Well, bollocks to you. I think it looks really good. It's a lot easier. You get a perfect picture. Sound is great. I can have more than one machine, and the great thing is because it's got an HDMI out, or in I should say, and it's got the what do you call it, it's got a SCART as well. It means that I can just disconnect the Amiga, plug in the Amstrad, plug in the Atari, whatever I want to do, you know. So yeah, it just, you know, like I says, as much as I love original hardware, I'm willing to make certain compromises if it makes things easier to use. I know talking to Panther, he's exactly the same. I mean, although he's got multiple C64s and that kind of stuff, he doesn't mind emulation, and he uses his TVs for monitors and that kind of stuff. And I think, given the fact that how many systems I own, unless I was to have a huge mansion with a massive big basement with loads of space, then it's the way forwards. You know what I mean? Having a little LCD TV is probably going to be far safer as well than having a sort of a CRT monitor, which, you know, potentially it's 35 years old. It could potentially be a fire hazard as well. But there's certain things about original hardware I don't mind compromising on, and having things plugged into a sort of a modern TV monitor, I don't mind one little bit. And it's the same with, and I've mentioned this before, it's the same with like handhelds. As much as I love the Game Boy and that kind of stuff, if I want to play a Game Boy game, I would rather play it on the GPDXD, just because it's got a far nicer screen. The screen's bigger, it's sharper, it's more vivid, the sound is better, and you know, you don't get any blurring as well. So I think, you know, modern technology can actually enhance these old systems. For me, it's all about, I think probably the main thing for me about original hardware is having the proper controller. You know, if it's a Atari, a Commodore 64, Spectrum, it's using a proper Atari 8-pin joystick, or is it 9-pin joystick? I think it's 9-pin actually. But I certainly don't mind using modern monitors if it makes your life easier. So yes, that's been that. What else have I been doing? Gaming wise, still been playing a fair bit of my, still loving my new MAME cab. Now, a few people have said to me I need to put a new monitor in it, because the current one is a bit too small. Now I'll be honest, and I'm sure Paul Spriggs, my mate, who I bought it from, he'll not mind me saying this. When I did originally, I drove down to Newcastle to get it, and the first thing that I noticed when I saw it was, blimey, that monitor looks absolutely tiny. It just looked so small. But you know what, having brought it back up, I've grown used to the size of it. And the fact is, it's actually the same size monitor in my other cab, and that never bothered me. I never thought that's a really small monitor. I think because the surrounding the sort of the new one is quite large, it does make it look, it does make the monitor look small. I think at one point I will look to get, I don't know whether I'll go down the road of getting a CRT. I mean, the actual cabin itself it's built like a tank. I mean, it would easily take the weight of something like that. I don't know, I'm quite happy with it the way it is at the moment. If I could get, does anybody know, if it's a 4:3 ratio monitor, does anybody know, can you pick up a larger monitor, 4:3, larger than 19 inches? The one I've got is 19 inches. Is it possible to get a 21 inch? I've looked on eBay, can't see anything. I mean, Mike, if you're watching this, obviously you're a computer shop owner. Is that a thing you can get? I would love to get a larger monitor. I don't really want to, if I can help it, I don't want to put a widescreen monitor in. Now I know Panther, he's got a widescreen monitor. Lots of main cabs do have them. I quite like the sort of the more squarey one, the 4:3 ratio. I don't know, it's down to purely personal preference. But yeah, if anyone can tell me, or indeed has one for sale, you know, anything larger than 19 inches, please let me know. But primarily, if you can let me know, is that something you can actually buy? Because if I could get one that was just maybe a couple inches bigger, even an inch bigger would probably make quite a bit of difference, then I would definitely buy one. So anyone that knows, do these exist, preferably with links, put it in the comments down below, message me in my Facebook or in Discord, whatever. So yeah, I've been playing that. What else have I been playing? I've been giving my Game Boy Advance a bit of loving. That's the Game Boy Advance that you see at the start of most of my videos. It's a little purple one, and it's got a back screen. It's got a lit back screen. It's an absolutely fantastic little handheld. Definitely my best. I think it's probably, out of all the handhelds I've got, it's probably the most comfortable just to hold it. It's quite light. It feels really good. The problem with the Game Boy Advance was the lack of light, and it meant that when you tried to play a game, it was so difficult. I mean, the original Game Boy didn't have a light, obviously, but I think because it only used kind of greys, or was it yellows and whatever it was, you could see it. There was only really different shades of kind of grey, but the Game Boy Advance had different colours, and to try and get a light strong enough, you know, to actually let you see it was very difficult. So I did buy a Game Boy Advance when it first came out, and I sold it pretty quick just because I could hardly see the screen, which was a shame because it's a fantastic little machine. I think it's kind of the equivalent of a SNES, something like that. Excuse me a little second. And before you say, that picture is not actually squint, it's the iPad that's squint. Although I think, was it Jamie Williamson, Andy, it absolutely freaked him out, his OCD, because I don't actually have it in the middle of the settee. Anyway, I'm happy, it makes me quirky. Anything else, apart from working, I did do a video with, I'm not going to tell you who it was, I did a video on Thursday. I messaged him, we were talking about something, and I said to him, what are you up to? You fancy a quick half an hour chat? And he went, yeah. And he's like, when? I went, in 5 minutes. So that sort of half an hour chat went on for, I think it was just shy of 2 hours. Oh, no, an hour and a half it was. Typical meme meister, they tend to run on and on and on. But really good fun, always a pleasure talking to this person. So that video will be coming out probably Monday, Tuesday next week. Videos, what else I've got? Listen to my grammar. Other planned videos, this Sunday coming, 7 o'clock to 9, it's going to be an Atari ST special. Well, it's not, I keep saying special, it's not a special at all, there's nothing special about the video. It's going to be an Atari ST dedicated live stream. So what to do is put any game you want to see me play, either put it in the comments down below, preferably in Discord if you can, if you're on my Discord. If not, get your arse across to Discord, great bunch of people. Or else you can post it in the Main Meister Facebook page as well. I did put a link to it, so that's a link to it, I should say. That's 7 o'clock to 9 on Sunday. A week on Sunday, the 29th of November, a date for your diaries. We've been talking about it for a wee while now, kind of following, and I'm going to say the word success because I think it was 100% a success, the 12-hour live stream that we did about, well, I don't know, probably 2 months ago. We raised £1,000, all for charity. We've decided, why don't we do a shorter live stream? It's not going to be 12 hours, it's not going to be 10 hours, it's going to be 5 hours, which I still think is value for money. It's a bargain. I'm going to have Panther. He's going to be in doing whatever it is he does. I don't quite know what it is, but he's going to be doing whatever it is he does well. We are going to be tying up next week, I think it is Monday, Tuesday next week, to basically go over and see. He seems to think we could possibly use Discord and OBS so that when I'm playing games you can hear the sound, but hopefully, and it's fingers crossed, we'll be able to have people dropping in and you'll hear them talking and you'll hear the sound of the games, because I'm not going to be having any like special guests or anything like that. If people maybe want to join in with the stream, then you know they're more than welcome. But what we want to do is we want to see how kind of feasible it is, how workable it is. So Panther had said to me, look, best thing to do, mate, why don't you get yourself a second monitor so you can kind of extend you know your desk with a second monitor. So I had a look this morning and I've got a new all singing all dancing graphics card which I use for the VR, and I noticed that it's only got one HDMI output. The other ones are, I can't even, display port or something, I think Panther said it was. It's basically when you can output to a 4K source. Now, you know, I don't have anything that I could plug that into, but Chris, or Panther I should say, kindly did a little Google on Amazon and he found this little cable which does is it display port to HDMI. So hopefully it means I can connect a second screen and have the two screens, because I think certainly doing live streams it'd make it a lot easier, because currently I'm only using one screen and I've got like the Chrome browser open with the kind of comments, I've got Gamebase, I've got multiple emulators, I've also got OBS, and it's all kind of cramped, whereas if I could have one OBS on a screen on its own or a game on its own, it would make things a lot easier. So that's the plan. So that's the Sunday the 29th of November. Yeah, it's going to start 4 o'clock to 9 o'clock. If you can join in, that would be utterly fantastic. Anything else game related that I've been doing? Not a massive amount. So the new Xbox S, I think it is, or is there two Xboxes? I don't even know. I don't even follow what they're called. Is it S and X or something? One's a kind of cut down version of the Xbox. Don't really. Are they both the same spec apart from one is digital only, same as the PlayStation 5? A few mates. I know my mate George, Retro PC. He's got the new Xbox X. I don't know anybody that's got the PS5 yet. What are your thoughts on it? Are you guys going to go and get one? Well, apart from anything, you can't physically buy one, but I'm going to kind of sit in the fence for a wee while. I think I will eventually buy one, because I'm a gamer at heart, and I do, as much as I don't play many games, I do still, I like the fact that I can play them if I want. So I probably will get one at some point, but I think I'll probably leave it until you get bundles. They always do that, you know, within 6 months you'll get a bundle of 4 games or something. Now, I was going to say I'm firmly in the PlayStation camp, but you know what, I'll leave it 6 months and see what happens. I mean, I was actually thinking of selling my PSVR, because you know what, I never use it, never ever play it. 2 reasons I haven't sold it is, one, I'll probably not get a lot of money for it. You might get 80 quid for it, and I think I'd rather hang on to it if that was the case. And secondly, I'm waiting to see whether you can use that in the PS5. You know, there might be some kind of groundbreaking game, and I'm like, bloody hell, why did I sell that? So I'm going to kind of sit in it for a bit. But yeah, as far as the kind of new consoles, I think I'm just going to sit in the fence, see what happens, see what games come out for it. The thing is, when games do come out, I never play them, so I don't know why I buy them. But see, when you're a gamer at heart, it's hard to kind of to not buy one. So I'll see what happens. So anyway, listen, I don't want to drag on too long. I want to get this video out and edit and hopefully get it out tonight. So I'm just going to kind of crack on with some. Oh, sorry, before I forget, oh, balls, what have I done there? I mentioned Tony Temple's book Missile Commander, I think he's called it. I'm about 3/4 of the way through it, and I've got to say it's a fantastic read. It is so interesting. If you've got any interest in, you know, the golden age of video games, then you really need to do yourself a favour and get one. I'm sure Tony will do you the honours of signing it. I think that's right, Tony. He'll get it autographed. There's not many books that are autographed by world champion arcade gamers, and Tony's a nice guy, so go and support him. But yeah, I think I'm on chapter 19. It starts at the very, very beginning when Dave Toyer first got involved, first came to Atari, and how the whole concept of Missile Command came about, the whole production thing, and you know how they designed it and what sort of program they wanted to put into it and why they changed things. And he talks a lot about how the original Missile Command was going to have a big massive panel at the top with flashing lights kind of telling you when you've only got so many missiles and that was done away with, I think, down to a simple case of cost. And I'm now literally just into the machine has now been made, and it's all about the high scores. You know, you've got the marathon settings and you've got the sort of tournament settings. So I'm probably 3/4 of the way into it, but I'm really enjoying it. What I do is I read one chapter every night. So like I says, if you're, excuse me, if you've got any interest in arcade games, you know, the classic arcade games, then do yourself a favour and go and buy it. It's Missile Commander, and what I will try and do, if I can remember, I will put a link down below, although there is a link in last week's Friday Waffle, or is it the one before? I think it's the one before actually. So yeah, that's kind of been that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to crack right on with any questions we've got. Right, Yoldy Gamer Steve, question for you. What was your best ever gaming related Christmas gift? Now, I've said this before, Steve, because I'm old, I never ever bought a computer. Everything that I bought for my computer, apart from my mate used to buy my game, I would buy him a game for Spectrum, he would buy me one for my C64. All the games, all the computer stuff that I bought was bought by myself. I never got any video game, I never got any console. Oh, well, you know what, that's kinda not true. So I never got any like console where you could plug stuff into. I never got a computer. Gaming related now, I'm going to assume you're talking about video games, because I mean I had like, what did I get? I mean toys, some of my favourite Christmas presents would be Evil Knievel. Fantastic. If you're of a certain age, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. I loved Evil Knievel, that was so exciting. First thing I did was toss a little doll. It was made of this real shitty rubber with wire through it. It probably wouldn't even be allowed to be sold nowadays because the wire would poke out and take your eye out. But I loved my Evil Knievel. Probably my best ever Christmas present, bar none, would have to be my Rally Grifter. Metallic red. Where did I start? It was just beautiful. I can still remember going downstairs 5 o'clock in the morning thinking Santa's being a still, well, yeah, I mean obviously Santa's real, yeah, and went downstairs and there was this, I put the Christmas lights on and I just saw this metallic paint glistening, and wow, it was just incredible seeing this thing. I mean, it was equivalent to somebody giving me a Lamborghini, this beautiful bike, built, I mean it was built like a tank, It weighed an absolute ton. I really wish I still had it. I really do. I mean, you do get them on eBay. I don't know what I would do with it. You know, it'd be something I'd probably just look at, and it wouldn't look as nice. But yeah, my rally grifter, it had the Sturmey Archer gears. You twisted your wrist and it changed gear in 3 gears. It had the sort of safety bar along the top. They probably put that in following people breaking their wrists and necks and God knows what with the Rally Chopper, because the Rally Chopper, it was an awesome bike, but it was as dangerous as anything. I mean, it had the big massive back wheel and the tiny little front wheel, so if you hit so much as hit a twig, the thing would just go arse for elbow, and you would end up going over the handlebars and hurting yourself. But yeah, my Rally grifter, it was just absolutely sublime. I remember my mate Derek, he was spoiled. I mean, back in the 70s, when the Christmas catalogue came out round about the autumn time, you know, you used to look at, I would pore over the catalogue and I didn't circle stuff, but I would tell my mum, oh, I'd love that, I would love that, I'd love that. And I'd pick maybe half a dozen things, and then come Christmas Day, I would get at least one of them, and maybe 2 if I was lucky. My mate Derek, he got everything, so if he picked 10 things, he got 10 things, whereas I only got 2. So I always felt a wee bit quite jealous of him, until the Rally Grifter Christmas. He got a Rally Commando it was called, can't remember what it looked like, and I got the Grifter, and he was so jealous. I actually remember on Christmas Day swapping it just to let him have a shot, because there was something really nice about owning something and letting somebody have a go, but you knew that it was yours and it wasn't theirs. So yeah, the Rally Grifter Christmas was awesome. Probably my favourite video gaming present, well, not probably, 100% was, because I never got an Atari ST, not Atari ST, I never got an Atari 2600. I would have loved one. That was like the holy grail, but there was no way my mum and dad could afford £100. Simply no way. I knew I was never going to get one. Never ever going to get one. So it didn't even cross my mind, because I knew I wasn't going to get one. But the day seeing Astro Wars in I think it was John Menzies. Now, looking at Astro Wars now, it looks very basic, and yeah, it is. It's extremely limited. But the games, these were the very first video games that we had. I mean, the very first one I had, what was it called? Galaxy Invader, I think it was. And it just had a single invader that didn't even move. It just went left and right, left and right, left and right. That was all it did. It never moved up, down. It just went left and right. And you got a wee UFO that came across. That was the very first one I got. And there was numerous versions of Space Invaders, football games, various. There was even an Alec Higgins snooker. How you can play snooker. Saying that, I did actually own that, and you know what? That was actually my. If you've ever had any regrets, I built up a collection of these LED games about 10 years ago, and it was at the point where nobody wanted them, so I was getting them for like a tenner on eBay, and I think I had about 30. And rather foolishly, about 4 years ago, I'm saying foolishly, it wasn't foolishly, in fact it wasn't 4 years ago, it was 2014. I needed money to go towards a main cab, so I sold them all for I think 200 quid, and I got my main cab, and I love my main cab, I really do, I don't regret that, but I do wish I'd kept them. The problem was I had nowhere to store them. Excuse me a second. Yeah, so anyway, Astro Wars, yeah, basically these machines, they were very, very basic, you know, they were very, very simplistic. And over the years, I mean, I don't know how long they're out for, maybe 3-4 years, but over the years they started to get kind of more and more complex, and then Astro Wars came along, and it was in like full colour. It had about 3 or 4 colours, and it also had multiple levels, and it was basically it was kind of a cross between Galaxian and Galaga or Galaga, whatever. I don't know what is the correct way to say it. I say Galaga. It was kind of like Galaga mixed with Galaxian, but it also had a wee bit kind of Terracrest flung in, because there was a little bit where you had to kind of dock. You had to dock with your ship at the bottom, and you know what? It was fantastic. The thing that really made it exciting for me is it actually looked like an arcade machine. You know, it had the big screen, it had the joystick, and it had the big button, the big fire button. It doesn't look too unsimilar to what do you call it? There's some of these little mini consoles like the Neo Geo and that kind of stuff that have come out. You know what I'd absolutely love to see? I would love to see someone put a Raspberry Pi inside an Astro Wars. That would be absolutely awesome. Can you imagine using that? Yeah, just even if it just ran Galaxian, that would be fantastic. So yeah, that would probably be my favourite gaming related present, Steve. But my favouriteest ever present would have to be my Rally Grifter. Just amazing. Excuse me. Gaming pal Ollie Lacoza, please don't stop making Amiga and C64 reviews. I watch them because because of the way they are. I've asked you before to review Sam's Journey. It may be among my favourite games of all time, but I know full well how you'd react to it. Alright, this is more for Lacoza, I think it is. Yeah, it is. There's not really any questions. But anyway, thanks for your comments. Panther UK, good stuff chaps. Top entertaining waffle. One for next time. Do you ever do any game rentals? Or did you ever do any video game rentals, and were there any dodgy blokes in escort vans renting them out, talking PlayStation 1 era? Did I? You know what, I only had, back in the day before I kind of, bought all my systems, I did have a SNES, and this was back when you had one system, then you sold it to get another system, then you sold that one to get another system. You couldn't possibly afford two systems. I certainly couldn't anyway. So I had a SNES for a short space of time, and Blockbuster used to rent out games. I think the only game I can recall renting was NBA Jam. I remember renting that. But you're getting into dodgy guys in vans. I mean, I've mentioned this loads of times. Back in the Amiga days, there was an open air market. I mean, going from the 70s, you could buy everything from dog food to like fake leather jackets and that kind of stuff. But back in the, I don't know when it would be, 91, 92, they started selling Amiga games, and I didn't even know you could buy Piracy Amiga games or Pirate Amiga games. And me and my mate, we used to go through to this market every Sunday and buy games. You took like 20 quid away and you came back with like 5 new games. I mean, it was I know it wasn't right, and I was lining the pockets of these criminals, but you know what, it was a way to amass a lot of games. I've made loads of videos, I've spoke about this at great lengths. I'm not going to go into any more details. There are numerous, I think there is a pirate, in fact I'm sure there's I'll try and find it. There's a Mainmeister and Chums Talk Pish where I'm joined by my mate Alan, and we talk at great length about piracy. So what I'll do is I'll try and put a link down below. I'm going to go like that. So I can hopefully, when I'm fast forwarding to edit the video, I'll see myself doing that, and I'll know to put the link down below. Yeah, as far as rental, again, because I only had a SNES for a short space of time, Chris, I think NBA Jam was the only game that I rented. I do remember, funnily enough, back in the early days when video rental shops, became a thing. It was all VHS and Betamax. I always remember there was our local video rental library place. They had a few Spectrum games. You know, the game that I can remember they were renting was Football Manager for the ZX81. You could actually rent that. Absolutely mental. But anyway, listen, Chris, thank you very much for your question, and thank you, Steve, as well for your question. Right, and Del Boy, question, if you could choose the development of the next best thing for the 21st century, a game, phone, VR headset, graphics card, new computer, what would it be and why would it be the best? Blimey Del, that's a question and a half. You know what, I mean, other than a cure for cancer and all diseases and a cure for COVID-19, that would be the obvious choice, and cure for world famine. From purely a kind of gaming entertainment perspective, I've mentioned this before, I think I would love to have a system where you can slouch in your settee like I'm doing at the moment. You point at their TV and you just basically say to it, VR, and you don't have to put a helmet on. The whole wall just envelops you. You know, having all the systems built into a huge big TV, and you're probably saying, well, wait a minute, you've got your Retro Pi, which, yeah, that is kind of, things like Retro Pi is kind of bringing that technology one step closer. But to have it completely wireless, no cables, having proper controllers, having like a wireless Kempston joystick, a wireless SNES pad, just having this system where you can say, I don't know, I'm not going to say the A word, but you speak to the TV and you just say, SNES, Mario Kart, boom, there it is, Mario Kart's just loaded up. Kind of like a Netflix for games. Now I know Jim Bagley is actually working, or he's not working on it, I think he is working on it. There is an online rental system, I can't remember what it's called, I keep meaning to actually look to see what it's about. And I think that's kind of what I'm talking about. You've almost got like games on demand. So I think that's the future. So yeah, I would love to see something like that, Dale, where you can just sit back in your living room. If you want to watch a movie in 3D or VR, you just say it and it'll automatically, you don't have to put glasses on, you don't have to put a headset on with clunky wires or whatever. It just, woof, that's it, you're inside. That would be absolutely awesome. For the Friday Waffle from Kev, hi Alan, have you seen those 12-inch tall mini arcades like Dragon's Lair and Centipede? I just bought Tempest and put down a pre-order for Asteroids and I'm questioning my sanity, so advise me if they are a silly purchase or not. You know what, Kev, I don't know of the exact one that you're talking about, but there's a lot of these little kind of mini consoles, little mini arcade cabinets. Now, it's a kind of double-edged sword. I mean, who wouldn't want to own a full-size cabinet of Missile Command or Galaxian, whatever? I certainly would. But the problem is, they're making these little mini ones now. If they get to a point where they're so small, then they're just like a novelty. And I mean, you're saying it's 12 inches, so I don't know, 12 inches. Yeah, it's not much bigger than an iPad. See, for me, that is a bit of a gimmick. I think when you first buy it, you're going to use it. And then after a couple of weeks, you're going to end up, playing, say for example, you've bought Tempest, you're going to play it in that. Now, I don't know what the controls are like, maybe I'm talking bollocks. But I think, for me personally, if I bought like a Galaxian one, I think after a few weeks of kind of, oh, this is fantastic, I've got a real arcade cabinet, it would soon become a novelty and it would end up just becoming an ornament. And that's the problem with these for me. Now, before I kind of move on, I am 99.9% sure I saw something, was it a Kickstarter or it was something like that, and it was one of these mini arcade cabinets. It might have been the arcade one up, but it was track and field. Now this was probably 2 years ago, and I am 99.9% sure I actually made a deposit. I think it was like 30 quid. I put a deposit down, and it was going to be coming out shortly after. Now, you know what? I've trawled through PayPal, I've trawled through all my emails. I can't find any evidence of me ever paying that. I can't even find anyone mentioning track and field. Can anybody remember it? If anybody can remember it, or indeed find any information about it, because like I said, I'm 99.9% sure, or to flip it on its arse, I am 0.1% unsure if I've paid a deposit for something that I may never actually get. I'm just genuinely curious. So yeah, something like that. I mean, track and field, again, it's probably going to be a novelty. But to answer your question, Kev, I don't want to sound like sour grapes, but I think if these things are so small, then the controls aren't going to be full size. The screen's going to be very, very small, and like I said, I think it's just going to become a novelty. It's going to be the kind of thing you're going to have sitting on a desk when you're having your roll at lunchtime, and you're going to put it on. You're going to have a quick shot of Defender, whatever it is. But as far as full playing experiences, I'm not really. I think they're too small. I mean, I've seen there's a shop called Mankind, and they have the is it Pac-Man and Galaga, and again they're about, is that the one player up, I think they're called. There's numerous ones, and for what they are, I think they're overpriced. I mean, I think they're like 120 quid, and yeah, it's emulation. I'm not a big fan of them, Kev. You know, again, if somebody was to give me one for nothing, I would gladly take it, but I'm certainly not going to go buying one anytime soon. Yeah, secondly, it looks like Sony are not doing much for PSVR now that the PS5 is out, and I can't say blame them. Oh, really? There are a small fraction of PS4 players who use PSVR anymore, so do you think Sony are declaring VR dead, or are they going to blow us all away with some kind of new VR headset in a couple of years? Is that right? Is that right? Well, you heard, if you've been watching this, Kev, if you've got this far, and chances are you have watched it, I was going to hang on to my PSVR for the PlayStation 5. So are you saying that the PlayStation 5 will not support it, and you're saying that Sony are basically abandoning PSVR or virtual reality? If that's the case, then that makes me very sad, because a lot of people have supported PSVR, and it always annoys me when companies basically drop them to not support them. You know, it's a lot of money, especially if you've maybe just recently bought one. And if that's the case, if it's official that they're not going to support it, then I think I would probably end up selling it. Supposing I got 80 quid for it, I think I'd end up selling it. I'm disappointed. I really am disappointed to hear that, Kev. I didn't know that until you told me. And finally, have you seen the little Game & Watch Mario 35th anniversary handheld that Lone Boy posted a video about? Too expensive and pointless in my opinion. Change my mind. I'm not going to change your mind, Kev, because I agree with you. I don't see the point. They're just, these companies are punting out all these bits of hardware and gaming things, and it's just, they're like cash cows. I can play Mario on my Game Boy Advance, I can play it on my GPD-XD, I can play it in numerous things. I've not actually watched Lone Boy's post video, but nah, again, it's like these Sega mini Game Gears. Apparently the screen in these are like 2 inches by 1.5 inches. I physically couldn't even see that. Utterly pointless. Again, like what I was talking about earlier on, Kev, I think they're just novelty items, which is a shame. But thanks for your question, Kev. And I think this is the very, very last one. Yes, I think it is. Milface Swinbuckle. Right, I've got a real mind buggerer of a question this week, and a bit of a long one. But it's a twat of a one to explain, so strap yourself in and put on your best mulling over cap, and here it comes. Many scientists and boffins have speculated that if civilization got wiped out, then managed to rebuild itself thousands of years later, eventually getting to a point we are pretty much at now, it has been said that all religion would be completely different, with new gods and stories being made up, but all the science and mathematics would be rewritten exactly the same. I personally agree with this, and it got me thinking. If this new society began making computer games, would the games they made mimic our own? Obviously games that simulate real life shit would still get made, sports, racing, flight sims, but what I'm talking about are games that are unique and could only have been created on a computer. I believe that although most of the games might be quite a bit different, the pure games would eventually recur in some form or another. Games such as Space Invaders... Archie, stop it! I've got a dog that wants out. Excuse me a second. Come on, out you go. Never work with animals or children. I believe that although most of their games might be a bit different, the pure games would eventually reoccur in some form or another. Games such as Space Invaders, Robotron, Pac-Man, Tetris would all rise again. Maybe these new reimaginings would have slight variations, but pretty much the same game would once again spring up in Woe This Brave New World. Bloody hell, that's... I might need to read that a second time actually, Milfy. So what are you kind of saying, that if civilization was just to reinvent itself, would the games still be the same? It's hard to really say. I mean, you know, something as simple as Space Invaders, obviously the human race have got this obsession with aliens. But you know, and then of course, you know, aliens invading and we've got to shoot them and kill them. But given how politically correct and PC we are nowadays, you can't upset anybody. Would potentially, if we were to come back in 1,000 years, it might be like Men in Black, where we're mixing amongst aliens, and so would we really have games where we're killing them? That might be kind of frowned upon. I don't know. That's almost like one that I would almost need to go away and think about, and I might just do that. But yeah, it's difficult. It's difficult to know. I mean, here's the thing: we've had video games now for what, 30 years, 40 years, and I think we've kind of reached a stalemate where there are really no new ideas. We've kind of come up with all the ideas. I mean, we've got two-dimensional games, up, down, left, right. We've got virtual reality games. We've got 3D-esque games. We've got isometric games. Is somebody going to come along and come up with a completely new type of game? You know, obviously the whole mind control thing is still something that, you know, 30 years ago, in the year 2000, well that was 20 years ago, back in the 70s, the year 2000, we're going to have flying cars, we're going to be living on the moon, and yeah, technology has rolled on an awful lot, but we're no nearer forwards to flying cars, although there again, given that Boris Johnson has made it illegal to own a petrol or diesel vehicle in the year 2030, which means I'll be, what age would I be? I don't know what I'm going to be. I'm going to be 63. I'm going to somehow have to find the money to buy a battery operated car. Where that money is going to come from in an old age pension, I have got absolutely no idea. So we're still well behind what we thought we were going to be doing in the year 2000. But video games, and you know, even I keep saying it, things like storage, the fact that you can store 256 or 512 gigabytes on an SD card the size of my fingernail just blows my mind. But yeah, I think there's not a finite number of games, but I think us as a population have kind of run out of ideas. And when you think about Berserk, you move up, down, left and right, fire. When you think about Call of Duty, you're still moving up, down, left, right, fire. The controls are the same. The only thing is different is what you see in the screen. Yeah, it gives the impression of 3 dimensions. So we've not really moved on at all from that. I mean, Nintendo have tried to kind of change the way we play games with the Wii remote and things like that, but that never took off. I mean, it would be interesting, I'm sure 100% in 1,000 years time, when I'm long past being food for worms, video games, well, not going to be called video games, there will be, it will not even be electronic, there will be games of some sort that will exist. In what form they're going to be, I have no idea. But as far as I'm concerned, I think they're going to miss the best ever form of game, and that is your classic arcade game every time. So anyway, listen guys, time is wearing on. I'm going to get this uploaded. Sorry for the delay again in the Friday Waffle. Oh, just very quickly, I put out a little daft video yesterday called technical problems. basically saying that I wouldn't be along for my waffle. And what I thought was surprising, or maybe I shouldn't be surprised, but rather amusingly and rather annoyingly, I've got 6 people that have thumbs down it, or given it a thumbs down. Now, is that people that have watched it and thought he's a wanker and given me a thumbs down because they hate the video? Or is that people that were looking forward to my Friday Waffle and they're disappointed and they've given it a thumbs down? Curious to know. I'm not going to attack anybody. If you were one of these people that gave that a thumbs down, can you please explain to me why you gave it a thumbs down? I'm still intrigued as to the point of giving a video a thumbs down without a comment. I think that's probably attracted more thumbs down than I think I've had a couple of other ones that I've had slightly more, but I think as things stand when this video goes out, I think I've got 6 thumbs down. I don't understand thumbs down. I don't get it at all. If people are doing it to annoying, what they don't understand is they're actually still promoting your video through the algorithms. What is YouTube? So anyway guys, listen, I'm going to get going. I'm going to get this bad boy uploaded. Thanks as always to everybody that continues to watch. Remember, date for your diaries, next Sunday, the 29th of November, 5 o'clock to 9, 4 o'clock to 9 I should say, we're going to be doing a live stream, a 5-hour live stream. This Sunday coming, it's going to be an Atari ST special, 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock. As always guys, have a fantastic weekend, and as always, take care. Thank you very much for watching.